Hello everyone, this is Fraer giving you a shoutcast and a game between Roxkis Fraer versus TSL's Hyung here on Daybreak. Fraer spawning as the green Protoss player. I am not colorblind. The green Protoss player here on the top right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, TSL's Hyung spawning as the red, just double checking that, red Zerg. So this will be Zerg versus Protoss here on Daybreak, and we'll see what the strategies will be in this Protoss versus Zerg matchup. Now, pretty standard strategies is what I'm expecting here. Forge fast expansion coming in from Fraer. We'll see if Hyung does try to go for a fast expansion of his own, or if he will go pool first, as we are now already seeing Fraer move out with this one scouting probe. Based upon the scouting probe and the timing, Hyung should have a good idea of what Fraer is doing, making sure that both players are just pretty honest with their builds. We're seeing the Overlord now with that improved movement speed will be able to park itself off over here rather quickly, as we are now waiting for the probe to head up the ramp and take a look at what's going on inside. So far, no gas has been taken, which is exactly what Fraer needs to know, and he also knows that there is no spawning pool down just quite yet. He's going to go ahead, head back over here, place a pylon, and then move back over with that probe to make sure that the spawning pool is in fact in play. The spawning pool has come down, so Hyung will be able to clear out that one pylon pretty quickly and easily with little to no effort, because Hyung will be able to train up some Zerglings and some Queens in just a moment. Hyung now making his way down with this one drone. You can already see that the pylon is in position just enough to block this one hatchery from being able to be placed down, but it is going to delay anything that Fraer wants to do. Fraer now going for a Forge first instead of going for that Nexus first, knowing that he may be forced to set up some earlier photon cannons. A second pylon also coming in from Fraer as well, making it so that Hyung cannot establish an expansion anywhere. This is a huge play. The only problem though is that what is Fraer going to do? If he wants to continue this, he will need a photon cannon down here on the ramp, as Hyung is laughing just a little bit. You see a Nexus has come into play, and are we going to be going into Zerglings? Yes, 4 Zerglings are now being added. We can see that the front door is adding in that photon cannon, as the drones are now trying to take down this pylon. Pylon already down to 160 hit points. This one drone will take a little bit of damage over time from this probe, and the probe may actually get a drone kill here, which would be a good win. And yes, Fraer actually gets the drone kill, as this one hatchery finally is able to be established. Nexus already has about I would say a 35-second advantage in terms of construction time here, as we are still seeing Fraer, who is currently supply blocked at 21/18 and will be supply blocked for a little while longer since he just lost 2 pylons. Photon cannon is up. Nexus is about to be ready to go. Should free up some additional supply, as the probe is trying to snake all the way back home. And I believe Fraer pretty much did exactly what he wanted to do. He is currently sitting on a nice harvester advantage, 23 compared to 17. He already has his Nexus up. He can start training probes off of that, and he will be able to start chrono boosting off of this Nexus pretty quickly as well. Cybernetics core is warping into play, perhaps adding in a gateway here or some other tech building here, forcing the units to be closer to that photon cannon would be better, as we are about to finish up. Oh, nope, this hatchery still has quite a ways to go. This hatchery also has quite a ways to go, or a little bit to go here. So really, Fraer is sitting really comfortably, as now we finally see Hyung trying to catch up in the economic game. We are now going into double gas after this initial opening, so Fraer really wants to tech up. Cybernetics core is up. We are getting that warp gate tech, adding in a stalker and getting level 1 weapons upgrade, as opposed to any robotics facility or Stargate. So it is going to be a lot of 1-4 Zealot quickly get caught in open field, and it looks like the Zealot does get 1 kill there, but beautiful micro by Hyung, pulling away that lower hit point Zergling. He did not need to bring it back in. By bringing it back in, he actually lost more than he needed to in that engagement, as we are now going into that warp gate tech. Level 1 weapons upgrade. Stalker now making its way down. That is not a smart move either, as it can easily get surrounded by Zerglings and if it does get surrounded by Zerglings, it is going to fall rather quickly. The Zerglings, however, do not have metabolic boost, no wings, as the Zerglings are now trying to dance away from that Stalker. And where is this probe going to be going out now? The probe looking to perhaps go in a very, very roundabout fashion to not get scouted out, simply knowing the sight path of this Overlord here and going to be dancing around in order to perhaps set up a proxy pylon here. We are going into 4 additional warp gates, or sorry, a total of 4 warp gates, so the timing on this should be very strong. Level 1 weapons upgrade, just as that warp gate, that high ground pylon does get completed. You're going to see a pylon here. Does he know about it? No, he's not going to know about this here. So Fraer should be able to get in a lot of units, but the Roach Warren is already about to come out, and with that Roach Warren, Roaches do fairly well against gateway units, especially early on in the game. Fraer does have the proxy pylon here. Is he going to be warping in units? The warp gate tech now has been completed. There we go, warping in 6 total Stalkers to try and do a little bit of a dance back and forth. Another pylon coming in here now as Fraer is starting to push forward. Oh, this Queen could have a very bad day. It looks like it was going to have a bad day, but the Stalkers didn't get close enough, and now we finally see some Roaches on the field. Stalkers are going to be forced to back off here, as they cannot go up against those Roaches. The Roaches are simply too beefy, especially when fighting on creep, but now we are going to be going into some Zealots and some Stalkers once more. The Roaches, however, are forcing more units to be trained, so we are seeing 46 drones versus 47 probes as level 2 weapons upgrade coming in. So we do have an upgrade advantage on the Zealots and on the Stalkers over their counterparts here, but the Zerglings are fighting very, very quickly. Fraer needs to get in another round of Zealots to act as a bit of a tank and make sure that those Roaches are not going to be anywhere nearby. Hyung does have a Queen over already. The Hyung also going to be laying down some creep tumors, trying to connect the bases, as the Stalkers are still warping in more and more units. Or, sorry, the Pylons are still warping in more and more units. Army compositions, Zerg is slightly larger. Harvester count 54 compared to 49. Additional production, always nice, as we are going into an additional warp gate. Level 2 weapons upgrade about to be, or about halfway done now, so it's not going to be ready for quite some time, but level 1 missile attack already coming in. You really need Immortals to really counteract the number of Roaches that you're seeing. The Blink Micro could also come into play, as well as the Glio Reconstitution is not yet done. Blink needs to be engaged right as Fraer has it available to him to try and utilize every advantage possible. Here we go, here's the engagement. The Stalkers are perhaps going to try to blink away. Are they going to be able to do exactly that? Yes, but one Stalker does get taken down, and Fraer, who is still behind in terms of supply, cannot really do much. Hyung now flying around with one Overseer. Taking a look, Queen now trying to make its way over. Zerglings now with that metabolic boost, able to catch up to those Stalkers very easily, as we now see a 50 supply discrepancy between these two armies. 55 workers versus 50. We are going into some Warp Prism play, a little bit of cute play, but how effective will it be is going to be the question, as the Warp Prism may not be able to do very much of anything. Hyung does have Overlords, and that Overlord will get shot down. Does he spot that Warp Prism in time, as the Zealots are going to fly by this Overlord as well? Stalkers are now coming back off over here. There is about a 60 supply discrepancy between these two armies. The Stalkers are going to have to go up against a whole bunch of sentries, or work alongside a whole bunch of sentries to deal with these Roaches. The Roaches are going to be attacking from the main door and from the side door all at the same time, and here we go. There we go, and now there's some force fields coming in. Zerglings unable to really engage. The Roaches unable to engage, as the initial round of Zerglings do get taken down. Zerglings also going to get taken down by the photon cannon here, so Fraer in a beautiful defensive position, as Zealots should be dropping down, but no, why are they not dropping? They are not dropping here. Too much concentration of the attack happening off over here, as the Zealots now trying to tank more damage. Stalkers need to be very careful. They have 2-0 upgrades over 1-0 upgrades, but that is not going to be enough. There's finally an Immortal on the field, and that Immortal really needs to deal a lot more damage. Fraer exchanging beautifully, but did he actually get some some kills here? Yes, the Roaches, however, bunching themselves in a very beautiful corner. Perhaps the Warp Prism will be able to warp in some more units. No, there is a Queen nearby to take care of that. Meanwhile, Zerglings not trying to make their way in. They do make their way in, but the sentries prevent the Roaches from really getting in once more. The Immortal, with 7 kills already, going to be the hero of this battle if he's able to focus down more and more of these Roaches. Roaches now trying to sneak their way in, able to push their way through once again. We are going to the level 3 weapons upgrade, so Fraer has somehow turned a 50 supply disadvantage into only a 10 supply advantage, and this is continuing to fall rather dramatically as Hyung now trying to get away from the Stalkers. The Stalkers may actually be able to blink forward and finish off this last roach here. No, it is not going to be able to do that. But we are still going into more Immortals. There's still this proxy pylon here, and as soon as this proxy pylon is done, we are going to see all of these creep tumors get destroyed, and now the Zealots, Immortals, and the Stalkers are going to try to do a really strong push. Larva count, only 2 larva. That is going to really hurt Fraer, or sorry, really hurt Hyung, as Hyung is not going to be able to reinforce with very much anything. But Fraer now apparently spooked by something, now coming back. Hyung going to be losing this Overlord up on the high ground. We're going to see a large number of roaches now come in. Who is going to come out on top as Fraer still warping in and reinforcing here? This is not good news. The Warp Prism needs to perhaps get off some damage here. Look at the workers killed, not very much. Roaches are going to be able to simply walk inside the main base. And who is going to come out on top? Fraer is in trouble. 134. We are going to be going into another Immortal here in just a moment. And the Immortal needs to turn around and attack. No, it's going to quickly get shot down by those roaches. No, not going to even bother, as we're going to see a base race now coming in. The probes, the roaches finishing off that last unit there. The probes now trying to run away. The Zerglings are making their way over. As Immortals, wow, what happened there? Immortals coming in to engage. Sentries getting picked apart by the Spine Crawlers up on the high ground. Mass Spine Crawlers here, and there's now a force field as well. Drones unable to make their way through. Queen now trying to engage, and all the units are backing off. You can see mass roaches inside the main base. The hatcheries have pretty much been destroyed. No one with any available mining base whatsoever, as the roaches are trying to push their way through. Fraer is behind, but he does have the larger army, whatever that is worth at this stage in the game, as the Stalkers are now trying to retreat and return all the way back home. We are seeing more and more Zerglings making their way in. Are we going to perhaps get enough probes? How many probes are on the map? I don't see any probes on the map, so that means that nothing will be able to be retrained. The Nexuses don't even need to be bothered to get shot down any longer, as there's no way to really do any more harvesting. Roach is now going after all of these buildings off over here. The Stalkers now trying to make their way up onto the high ground. Are the Stalkers going to be able to engage? Here we go. Here's an engagement. The Observer, and now the Immortal does go down. Fraer trying to continuing this chase up. There is still a large group of army here and constantly force fielding the ramp. The main base still mining for Hyung, and Hyung will need a lot of Zerglings to handle this, as the roaches are taking care of these Stalkers pretty easily. The Stalkers need to focus down these roaches. The roaches are upgraded 1-0 against 3-0 upgrades. The Stalkers are blinking back, and this is beautifully done so far. Why is he training an Observer? Not 100% sure, as the Stalkers are going to fall to these roaches here, and who's going to come out on top? It looks like the Stalkers will end up all... Oh, nope, they are able to barely get away. New round of Zerglings are making their way in. Another force field does come in as well. Are the Stalkers going to be able to take down some Zerglings? Yes, they are, but no more force fields here, as the Stalkers blinking up onto the high ground just in time. Wow, Fraer very lucky with that Observer. Still keeping it in position. Do we see any other pylons anywhere, as the Zealots are going to clean up some Zerglings here? Still, massive number of Spine Crawlers here. We are going into a Nidus network and another hatchery. Apparently more larva limited than anything else. The Queens with that many transfusions also means that there is not going to be any engagement over here on the front door. Simply too much to try and beat down roaches. Coming back in as the Stalkers now utilizing their shields to rejuvenate or try and re-engage. The Stalkers are going to perhaps blink away again. Are the Stalkers, yes, blinking away, peeling back, getting a lot of longevity out of those units. The Stalkers are now going to re-engage here, and oh, beautifully done. All of these units are going to fall, as a Fraer at 35 supply compared to 52. This is beautifully played, as Hyung now loses, and army compositions larger for Fraer, but income is really going to make a very big difference in this next battle. Observer is keeping track off over here. Zealots are going to start cleaning up some of these creep tumors. You can see the Stalkers are going to be taking down, and oh, here's the Nidus network that is going to get cancelled. And that now it has been revealed that a Nidus network is in play. Spine Crawlers now trying to make their way forward, and oh, they're going to catch some of these Spine Crawlers as they're trying to root. The Queens do make their way over, and there is a force field, not a good one at that. Alright, so drones now trying to mine away here. The Stalkers looking everywhere on the map for possible bases. Still 2 creep tumors there, and a whole bunch of overlords here. Mass Spine Crawlers on the ramp. Is it going to be enough to really push back? That is the key question here, as the Zealots are now taking down all of these creep tumors. So there are some creep tumors here, massive spine crawlers, more force fields coming in, and a range of 6 versus a range of 7. I think the Immortal could actually just poke away at one spine crawler, and even with transfusions, the Immortal could just back off and let the shields recharge much more quickly, since the Immortal does have, I believe, a faster attack speed and also deals more damage per attack, and it doesn't have to worry about hardened, and also has hardened shields. Oh, Zerglings, Roach is now trying to make their way out. This could be a huge upset as the Queens are now pushing away. Is this one? Oh, transfusion on the Nidus Worm itself to keep it alive. All the units are trying to back away, and now Fraer does say GG, a Nidus network, the difference between victory and defeat here on Daybreak. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 1 in this series. Stay tuned for Game 2.